To my dear students, colleagues of GIS group, and the distinguished participants across India, I welcome all of you to this session. I also welcome our Managing Director, Principals of GIS Group of Colleges to this session. I would like to welcome the keynote speaker of today's webinar, Professor Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe, the Honorable Chairman, All India Council for Technical Education, to this session. It is a matter of great honor and privilege for GIS Group to have you with us today, sir. I am extremely thankful to you that you have given your precious time to address us. I have always seen you not only as the chairman of AICTE, but sir, also as an educator and reformer of technical education in our country. Sir, I would also highly admire your farsightedness in identifying the need and importance of digitally educating India, which is today's tough time has taken over and is running the entire education segment. It would be hugely beneficial for all of us to hear about your insight and the road ahead of us. Every time, whenever we have shared the stage, you have always scolded me for not maintaining the time. So without any further delay, I welcome our most respectable and beloved sir to commence the session. Yes, sir.
Yeah, very good afternoon to everyone, especially Sila Ghosh, who is very encouraging people to come on board for various activities. And thank you. And last time when we decided, my mail did not reach on time, and therefore that schedule was not possible. So today we are meeting here. Let me start with the challenges that we are facing today, and post COVID-19, what challenges we are likely to face, and what are the possible solutions, and how do we go about. Number one, we talked about the change in the way of teaching learning process, not now, but for quite some time. Maybe 3 to 4 years, AICTE has been all the time talking about, is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No problem.
Yes, sir. It is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. So,
Yes, sir.
AICTE had this vision for the new education, which should be of a different nature than what we have been doing for quite some time. And especially starting with the curriculum revision, faculty development programs, faculty certification program, the new areas which are emerging areas such as AI, IoT, machine learning, digital learning. We have robotics, 3D printing, blockchain, augmented reality, virtual reality, cyber security, cloud computing. I think data analytics. These are all very, very important areas where faculty needed to be trained. So we started off doing with that. We also had, amongst various reforms, what is known as 3-week student induction program. So that students, when they come to the college in their first year, they all have to understand each other. And someone has learned something in his childhood right up to class 12, someone has learned something else, how they can each other and work together as one team. That is what was significant and important. So student induction program. Then universal human values as an elective, and the course has to be run, therefore faculty training in that. We also talked about examination reforms. Today itself, another 1,000 participants for a 4-day program. They are engaged in examination reforms activities, where examinations are not to be memory based, but must be beyond memory based, and in terms of higher levels of learning, whether it is understanding of the subject, whether it is application, analysis, synthesis, understanding a problem and then solving a problem, optimization, and also in terms of creativity and innovation. So I think there are various ladders in question paper, and we were only experimenting on what is known as rote learning methodology. So there are workshops which are required for this also. So we have this series of workshops which were going on in all these facets, and therefore, in some sense, reforms had already started taking place. And many of these courses which we have talked about were all on the physical mode. That means there used to be a formal teaching learning process like we do it in the classroom. We used to have 5-day program, 7-day program. Not,
yeah, who has shared the screen? Please close the. Yeah, sorry, sir.
yeah, because I'll say the control should be taken by the administrator. Then there will be less problems actually. So everyone can be kept on silence mode, and we have enough time for question answers also later if required. So these kind of reforms were already in place. Also internship. We said the mandatory internship was. And I think whenever there are workshops of this nature, seminars of this nature, I think there must be some discipline, and that is we should mute our microphones, and only one who is asked to speak should open up his microphone. I think this is a basic tenet of online learning. Anyway, let us follow that. So we have this internships also being mandatory. Therefore, we started engaging in an internship portal. So all of that was going on, but these reforms were not taking grand roots because JIS has been following is what is known as blended learning, or what we also call it as the flipped classroom. So this methodology has been advocated for about now 2 to 3 years, partly because we know students' attention span in the classroom is decreasing, and we need that students should be in a position to really interact and be involved actively in the classroom. Otherwise, they will not be concentrating on the classroom, because whatever is being taught by the teacher is already available in the internet, it's available in the YouTube, it is available in MOOCs courses, so student will not take interest. So the ideology was how we ask students to watch videos and come prepared to the class and solve their difficulties, or give challenging problems in the classroom and make them to work in teams. So whether it is working in teams, whether it is time management, understanding the concept, whether it is solving a problem and optimizing, all of that will happen in the classroom. So that is how flipped classroom also was being talked about, and use of technology in terms of 20% of the courses being permitted to be used from Swayam platform, that is a national MOOCs platform where IIT professors have pitched in their best courses. So this was also possible. So I think in some sense online learning or using of technology in the classrooms had beginning to happen. But what created the acceleration of the process is this COVID-19. Because in this particular semester, we had nearly completed probably 70% of the curriculum, 65 to 70% curriculum. Remaining 30-35% of the curriculum was yet to be covered, and when lockdown was announced and colleges got closed. So when colleges got closed, students went to their homes, and learning suddenly came to a standstill. And there were universities and colleges who had developed some learning management system of their own, either Moodle or some other resource through which they were already engaged in some sort of online learning. May not be fully 100%, but at least to some extent. So such universities and colleges could easily transform their learning process from the classroom mode to the online learning mode. It was very easy shift for such institutions. There were other institutions who had probably practiced almost nil, and for them it was a big challenge that how do you really engage the classes which were left out in the middle. So they found some difficulty. So I think this is where we stood when all of this took place. So from March, I think 25 onwards till now, it's about more than 30 days, and we have another 5-6 days to go when we will know whether the lockdown will be fully lifted. It would be is to be looked at. But meanwhile, the essence is what we were thinking is not possible, difficult, has been proved to be possible in this particular last 1 month of activities. I'll give you some instances of all that program which I said were happening in the live mode. We started with student induction program and universal human values program, which used to be either of 3 days program, 5 days program, and 7 days program. When we raised this, this value-based education is important and we should have this student induction program online mode, the faculty and experts who were taking earlier these courses, they possible to do it on online mode, because we need to interact with each other very strongly. Only then we can communicate the value of the human values, and therefore this methodology will not work. We said, why don't we experiment? And said first round was with the AICTE officials themselves. We had a full 5-day program, each day 2 hours, 2 sessions, and then further one more hour or 2 hours of session for interaction. So I think about 5 to 6 hours, about 50 of our officers and regional officers and headquarter officers joined together with some vice chancellors, and we conducted that. And experts as well as participants found that it is very much possible to have interaction even through a technology medium. And that is where we then second workshop we conducted on vice chancellors. Then we have opened it up. Today we have workshops being conducted at regular intervals of 5 days duration, and every day 5 hours attached to the screen. But participant number we gradually started increasing from 50 to 100 to 200 to 300, then even 400. But we have stabilized at around 200 to 250, where a lot of deliberation, discussion is required. If you have to only give one-way talk like what I am doing mostly today, you can have 800, 1000, 5000 participants. But otherwise, if you really want to have some interaction, some doubts being raised in the minds of some faculty, I think faculty development programs cannot have more than about 150 to 200. But nevertheless, because of limitations, sometimes we are opening up to more people. For example, today's examination reforms workshop is being attended by 1000 plus faculty members. We have Atal Academy programs also being attended by, starting with earlier 50 to 100, 200. So nearly 30 to 40 programs are already underway or are being planned in the next till the lockdown is over. So we experimented, we were successful, and we are continuing. So digital technologies, online learning has come to stay. So there is no doubt about it that even after post-COVID era, when probably regular classes will begin, this mode of teaching learning is going to be one of the predominant ways of teaching learning process. That is what is going to happen. The next one which is significant is the examinations. So far, except probably some entrance examinations or maybe the examinations like GRE, TOEFL, which used to be online, most of the other examinations that we are used to are in the form of written answer books in terms of 3-hour paper, sometimes 2-hour paper, 4-hour paper, lot of questions, and then they will write and then evaluation takes place. But very rarely we use the evaluation which is based on online examination mode. Maybe for entrance examination, there are some systems where you have objective type questions and you may have that kind of a situation existing, but otherwise normal university examinations are all pen and paper type examination. So this COVID-19, and when the classes themselves were not over, classes have to be completed and then examination to be held. Obviously, we had to have some, at least, semblance of online examination also beginning to happen. And when we started all this activity, many companies came forward with their products, which are very useful for conducting proctored examination from a distance. That means to avoid copying person looking at certain textbook, etc. for writing answers is not possible, because the camera on the computer or the laptop will keep watching the activities of the candidate who is certified to attend the examination, and therefore that part of copying is also eliminated. So I think all variety of tools that are existing today are capable of handling classes, they are capable of handling training, they are capable of handling even examinations. Now I will flip and come to two other important activities. One of them, all of you must be remembering that AICTE had started what is known as a program NEAT, NEAT, that is National Educational Alliance for Technologies, under which very many tools that many companies, either startup companies or some established companies, developed AI-based, artificial intelligence-based, personalized learning category of applications, whereby a student is tested for his knowledge, the current state of knowledge, and what he wants to do, and based on that a learning curve is generated, and he is taken through a set of courses by which he earns expertise and those capabilities which he wanted to achieve. And such tools have come into the market. They may be in all variety of fields in modern technology. It may be in terms of learning English, it may be in terms of communication skills, it may be in terms of high-end subjects like AI, IoT, or even routine subjects like thermodynamics, or it may be engineering, mechanics, basic electrical circuits, or it could be data structures. So in all these courses, depending on what you know already based on your learning from the classrooms, and if you want to excel, what needs to be done in order to take you along a path which will make you successful in terms of better employability on one side, or you become an entrepreneur and create your own startup. So both these flexible routes were available through these technologies, and they were not free. They were all charging some money, and therefore AICTE MHRD decided to enlist them and allow such products to be on the platform, whereby students know which company's product is useful and should be taken. Well, many times what used to happen earlier is many companies used to write to the college or directly through different social media advertisements attack student body, and students were not knowing which one is good, and they will join something, pay some amount, and finally get disheartened that this does not fit the product which they were interested in. And therefore, to help students, we had already created a portal called NEAT, and they were all chargeable basis. Only condition which we had put into these companies was, for every 4 products that are being procured by these students from that particular company, one product, that means 1 seat, has to be given free. So against every 4 seats which are procured, 1 seat has to be given as free. And this free seat AICTE will distribute amongst students from all the colleges in the country who are having less income, who are not capable of paying that fee, and those belonging to SC, ST, so that we are socially sensitive in helping those who cannot afford to pay the fee also should get help. So that is how we had started this portal. But number of actual takers, those who bought this product, was running around only 4,000-5,000. And this COVID-19 gave an opportunity to these companies to excel and then expand their base, and more students started taking this product. Meanwhile, we also appealed to this company that you give your product free of cost, at least for a couple of months.
Sir, your sound has been muted, sir. Kavya, please unmute sir's this thing, sound button.
Still it is mute.
Sir, you are not audible, sir.
Shobhosachi?
I unmuted now. Because
Yeah.
someone muted me. Administrator, instead of muting others, he muted me only.
Oh, sorry, sir. Sorry.
So,
It's okay, sir.
So anyway, so this
It's okay.
This NEAT portal, when we saw that the number of takers are less, we appealed to the companies and 5 companies and about 15 products, they came forward and said that they will give free of cost their product, which is actually on sale for the next couple of months. So that way, the number of people started using this NEET portal. But parallelly, those who were not enlisted on the NEET portal also started writing to AICTE and said that we have a product which is similar to that and we are willing to give it free. Why don't you add us? So we again created another parallel portal where all free products are already engaged. And we have today as many as 30 such products. I think this is a great learning tool which is available free of cost. Apart from this, MHRD as well as National Digital Library located in IIT Kharagpur has been quite often talking about the huge resource that is created. I think 3.5 crore number of books, documents, and they're all categorized into different disciplines available on National Digital Library, and that is also free. You all are aware that Swayam platform, which is a MOOCs platform, is also free. And Swayam Prabha, 32 direct-to-home channels from the ISRO, which are available for different educational content, right from primary school to high school to degree college and university, they are also available. I think plethora of the products which are available for free learning of students in an online mode has been created and has been available for our student body. Now, a little flip, I said I will take not only this, but the other important part, how technology can enable people is when there is a lockdown and when suddenly colleges started closing, students were asked to go home. There are students who are day boarders from the same town or city where the college is located. Obviously, they stop coming to the college, their houses are in the same locality. But there are students who would have taken admission in a college from a distant place. They would be staying in hostels. Some of them may be staying in the paying guest accommodation, private hostels, and so on. And because large number of them migrated, went back to their respective hometowns, number of people who were left out were very marginal and small in number. And by the time it got stabilized, most of the services, transport services, I mean, whether it is buses, trains, and flights, everything got stopped. And so there was no way that they could go home. So this was a problem for labor, which we have seen on the streets, and same was the problem with students also in some pockets. So we started receiving a lot of emails that our college has closed the hostel, so where are we to go now? Or college is allowing us to stay back, but there is no way, there is no canteen, there is no food available for us, there is no internet available. So all variety of problems started cropping up, and students started writing to us. When we felt this is a great problem, as far as at least students are concerned, within 3 days, we developed a portal. In fact, we developed in 2 days, but it was launched after Minister gave his consent to launch it. So within 3 days, we had a portal generated after the problem was realized, and which is called as AICTE Helpline. There is a set of people, either the colleges, the universities, philanthropists, there are individuals, there are organizations which are social and voluntary organizations who have come forward saying that they are ready to give help on one side. That is in terms of accommodation, food, the medicine, the transport, there could be a psychological problem, therefore counseling, there could be e-learning, there could be the classes, all variety of things on one side. And on the other side, students who are in distress and who wanted help, they can come onto the portal, and depending on when the student keys in his name and the location, if he is in Calcutta, if he is in Burdwan, he is in Durgapur, or he is in say Patna or in Bangalore, once he writes the name of the city, and there are some 12 various parameters, and selects that parameter, he will get a list of organizations and people who are ready to help in his locality. So he need not go to another place. Suppose you are in Patna, you will get 10 people who are ready to help you in accommodation. If you select the books are required for you, you select books, there will be 8 people who are ready to help you in getting books in your town, in your place. So that is the kind of platform was generated within 3 days. And I think I was so thrilled that after the platform was built, before the launch, we informally wrote to all the institutions that such a platform is coming into existence and you must try to come and help our student brothers and sisters. And 16,000 entries came in, around 3,000 odd colleges, some philanthropists, totally providing 16,000 services. And after 1 week we tested, we saw that the number of students requiring help who came on the platform were around 3,000, 3,500, whereas people ready to give help was 16,000. So I think when we are faced with challenge, I think our country is best in that fashion to help each other. That social outlook, which we have imbibed right from childhood, helps us in times of crisis like this. And that was very much visible during this platform creation and then made use of that. I think this is the way we have been progressing. Now I will speak a couple of words about future. Now the lockdown may be lifted sometime later, either fully, partially, or in phases. We must be prepared for handling this situation thereafter. Number one, those who are in the final year, they are all worried about their jobs. Prior to that, we are also receiving a lot of queries about internships. The internships for second, third year were supposed to be in the vacation in May, June, July. And now, since the exams are also not held, results are yet to become, therefore, the internship during the summer vacation is almost going to be ruled out. So we gave an alternative that why don't you start taking up a home-based internship. Internship need not be only going to an industry, visiting there and seeing the facilities and then working there. That is fine. That is an excellent mode of internship. But in the given situation, why can't you solve a problem by staying at home? So that is also started. So many students have this doubt. What will happen to our jobs? My assurance to all of them is when economy starts picking up, all those companies who had already recruited you, they will certainly take you in. But be patient. It is quite possible that many companies, those who had even given appointment letters, will not allow you to join possibly immediately after the lockdown is over and your results are there. They may say that you will join after 1 month, 2 months, basically staggered joining. In fact, this phenomenon is not new now. In most of the IT industries, this used to happen even 7-8 years ago when there was no problem. There was some financial crisis during that year and following year, companies used to take students through placements not immediately required. Therefore, depending on how much new jobs they will get, new projects that they earn, that company used to release more and more students to join their organization. So this is not new. So something like that is likely to happen and be prepared for that. So, sir, job tha, abhi chala gaya. So don't have to worry about it because some of them will take you 3 months down the line. Next important thing is, due to this crisis, different services which have collapsed today will have to be resurrected and the economy has to start again growing up. And therefore, huge number of opportunities are going to be created which were not existing earlier. Whether it is in terms of online learning and all that, what I said is one part, but otherwise also different services which have collapsed will have to be resurrected. And therefore, there is an opportunity for all young students who are passionate, who have entrepreneurial bent of mind, to not depend on job from the big companies, but create jobs through the mode of entrepreneurship. And so this entrepreneurial venture is not only within country, but all over the globe. Please remember, we are least affected in terms of corona epidemic with numbers, although they have been growing, no doubt about it, but we have a almost flat curve. Look at the population that we have. Look at the concentration of population that we have in our country. Compared to that, number of cases have been comparatively minimal because of the lockdown and many things which governments have done. And therefore, the countries where there has been a big challenge, whether all European countries, they are in worst affected. The effect is also there on US, Canada, it's also there on Japan, it's also there on South Korea and many other countries in the eastern side. So various countries will require different types of services and manpower. But if we are prepared well, this was a sentence we used to use earlier also, that if you are good in a particular domain, you will always get a possible job, or you can create your own entrepreneurial venture and become a startup. Now this choice is much more, and therefore without worrying about all these aspects, I'm sure that students will start getting engaged into the culture of creating jobs. As the final examinations are concerned, naturally we will have to prioritize for final year students, those who are to do their projects, their thesis, etc. is halfway down, they should be able to complete. Those who are still going to be within the college, those who are students of first year, second year, third year in engineering, or first year of management, they have 1 more year, 2 more years, 3 more years to go in the college. And therefore, we should not worry too much. They may have easily make up the loss that has happened. A couple of months loss can be made up by shortening the vacation, by learning more, by having little more class load in terms of timetable instead of 4 or 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day. I think there are various ways in which one can make up the loss that has happened for other years. And the type of examination also can be varied. It could be open book examination, it could be Viva based examination, it could be objective type examination. I think that freedom each university must use in order to help students to go to the next year and continue. UGC committee's recommendations on examination and changing the academic calendar for the next year, starting of the classes little later, and by next year it should all be rolled back to the normal routine. So all of that has been happening. So we should not be worried too much about what has happened, but face boldly. Right now we have been asked to stay home and avoid the spread of coronavirus. That we are doing already. We have been greatly successful. We should continue that. And even after the lockdown is opened, this problem is going to rest for about next 3 to 4 months likely. And therefore all due precautions in terms of using the mask, using the distancing, which we have been often talking about, not accumulating in large numbers in a short space, all of that has to be maintained for about next 3 to 4 months to completely eliminate the problem that has come into our country as well as all over the globe. I think I've been speaking for quite some time now, more than 30 minutes. I close here, and if there are questions, if there are comments, and what more is required to be done from your perspective, sharing your views, we will go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Administrator muted me also. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your kind word and guidance. So a lot of questions has been, bundled up in our chat box, but we have taken few questions to put forward to sir. Sir, the first question, that how do you see the process of admission to initiation of classes and conduction of classes for new 2020 and 21 batch? Kavya? Yeah.
Ho gaya.
Haan, sir.
So I think as far as admissions are concerned, there are different levels of admissions. One of them is at the highest level, IITs and later NITs admissions. Then there are admissions in every state, both in the government colleges and private colleges, and there are deemed and private universities whose admissions do take place. And there is examination in many of the places. Either JEE itself is used directly, which is a preliminary examination of the JEE IITs, or respective state governments have their own CET, and then based on that admissions are made. this calendar is also a little bit disturbed, and therefore there is a possibility each state may have to take a call, either based on 12th standard marks itself, they will be able to admit is one possibility. Otherwise, you have some 8 days, 10 days advance notice and then conduct that examination and based on that do it. Earlier, we used to have even 3, 4, 5 rounds of counseling. Maybe we have to curtail the number of rounds of counseling and it will automatically get curtailed. Where today, students, if they get a chance in a reasonably good college, immediately they will grab the seat, not wait for last date to be getting over. So I think we will be in a position to compress and start the actual classes. Although we have lost maybe 1.5 months to 2 months, we will be able to make up 1 month and then start the classes within 1 month. The next part is the actual approval of the colleges, which AICTE does on an annual basis. Applications were called for in the month of January end, and February 5th was the last date, and they are all applied. We are in the process of giving approvals. Normally April 10 and April 30 were the deadlines for the first round of giving clearance, and then those who have got some issues, we will have to give opportunity for the institution to present their case, and then on April 30, last day on which the approval was given. Now we are already close to April 30. What we have done is all those institutions where there was no increase in the intake in terms of branches or divisions or anything is asked for. They are about 6,500 institutions out of 10,900. So there is no problem with these 6,500 because we have nothing to do except that they are maintaining the standards specified by AICTE. Such an affidavit is only required, and we don't even require that to be given physically. One can put all of that in the letterhead, sign it and scan it and upload it. I think with this simple procedure, with giving an affidavit, one can download the extension of approval letter and therefore they can start their process. There are others where either they have asked for additional seats or additional new branches to be opened, and there are some kind of rules existing in fact in terms of what is that called, deficiency being there, or you should have accreditation of some programs because of which you will get this. So those verifications are to be done, and for this also one can upload these documents, and scrutiny committees, which you know that you were called either in the regional office or sometimes in the headquarter. We will not call any college to either the headquarter nor the regional office this year to maintain social distancing. What we will do is ask you to upload those documents, and when you upload those documents, our experts will sit there in the regional office or headquarter, check those and tick mark if they are all right, and you will get the approval. So I think the second set of people also will be handled that way. There were some complaints or something like that, and therefore after one round of EVC, Expert Visit Committee, the decision, and then appeal was given, and after the appeal was completed, there were some places where the penalty imposed college was not happy, and therefore they have asked for restoration, either this year's restoration or last year's restoration. And we have to conduct in some cases scrutiny, in some cases what we know known as expert visit committee. We are already developing a portal as well as testing mechanism using tools that are already available on the online process, and without making a visit to the college, we will ask the college to come online. We will ask experts to come online, and experts will ask questions. Based on that, the college will have to show the facilities that are there in the college on the online portal by using your laptop, or even mobile is fine, because today smart mobiles, you have GPS also. The location is ascertained. You will show the facilities that are asked for, and based on the drawings which are submitted and the actual facilities, by matching them, by sitting in the office of their own or in their college, our experts will be in a position to give clear recommendations and either approval or disapproval at the end of that. So we have used extensive use of technology this time, and the trouble of taking care of the experts when they come to the colleges is totally eliminated. I think once we do this time, next year, although there is no corona, we will continue this process so that colleges are not affected at all by the visit of these committees. This is sometimes a challenging task for the colleges. I am aware how you all perceive when visit takes place to a college. But where there is a significant complaint stating that whatever you have seen in the video is not an appropriate one, not the right place, and some serious charges are there, then we may have some visits here and there, but they may be absolutely be minimized. And we will make use of technology in terms of this. Therefore, on one side, the approval is going to be delayed because of this, and that loss of 1.5 months is going to be cascading effect on the approvals also. But we have gone to the Supreme Court because Parshvanath judgment stated that we must give approvals by April 30. Where there is no requirement of inspection or scrutiny, we are going to give approvals before April 30, that is tomorrow itself. And where there is a requirement of scrutiny and visit to the college, we are going to use technology, and we have sought more time from the Supreme Court for doing that. So in either case, instead of April 30, it may be extended to May 30 or so. And within 1 month, we will have all that processing done, approvals are given. And even by that time, I think entrance exams will be over, and finally admissions will take place, and the colleges will start running as usual.
Sir, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I think you have understood the answer what sir has shared. So now, sir, the second question they have asked: how to find the overall school to university education would evolve as post-COVID-19 effects?
No, in fact, in my talk, I have already said a couple of times that there were a lot of possibilities which we were not exploring because we were used to one type of system and we were continuing with that. The famous Newton's law of inertia plays in life also. So whatever we are doing, we keep doing it unless a force is acted upon for making that movement. And similarly, here there was an inertia in changing and using technology in the classrooms. And this has forced us to adopt online learning, using of Swayam courses. This has become necessity now during COVID times. And once we are convinced that this is a possible mode and model by which we can really be doing teaching learning possible, also effectively, I'm sure that next time we will continue to use that. But I'm sure we should not only depend on technology on the other side. One of the other things which I did not mention earlier, I would like to reiterate that there are students who may not have laptop. There are students who may not have smartphone. There are students who may have smartphone, but they cannot afford to have a regular, payment of bill for data. Because if you are downloading a lot of content, educational content on your mobile or laptop, the data connection which is required may be not affordable to some segment of students. And therefore, we have to help them, we have to support them in the college and the universities on the one side. And on the other side, we should not rely only on technology because of another reason, that finally this education is nothing but not just learning new things in terms of technology, in terms of subjects and courses and writing exam and passing exams, but as a human being, we have to work in the society. And unless that mold of interaction between student to student, between students and teachers, that does not happen, your personality will not develop holistically. Then you have to also go to the college, you have to have games, exercise, yoga, clubs, those kind of extracurricular or what we today call co-curricular activities also required to come together. So I think we cannot eliminate classroom, we cannot eliminate teachers, we cannot eliminate some activities which cannot be online, and some activities can be online. So I think we must start using judicious mix of online and offline and face-to-face and the mode which we have learned today. So if you start doing that, I think the strengths of both, the advantages of both can be made use of.
Sir, thank you, sir. The next question was in line with this question only. The students residing in remote areas may not get enough internet facility. What will be their alternative with respect to online studies and online examinations, sir? Is AICTE doing any advocacy to the concerned authority for giving some subsidy or some sorts of, free access of the internet in this country, considering this unprecedented situation?
There are 2-3 things which we are doing or attempting. Some may be successful, may not be successful. Number one, requesting some of the providers of telecom services to give it free. Like we have requested many companies to give NEET portal free, online education content for skill development free. So similarly, we will appeal and we will see if someone is magnanimous to provide that kind of a free service for not more than a couple of months. That is one part. The second part is when we appeal to many colleges that student after lockdown, maybe from state A goes to his hometown, which is in state B. The college is in state A. In the college, he had access to internet, but when he has gone home, his village may not have accessibility, or he does not have a data plan, therefore does not have accessibility. Such students, we requested colleges that why can't you, in your region, whoever has come back home, provide such a facility. That means if a student from Karnataka actually has studied in Tamil Nadu, he goes back home to Karnataka and his hometown is somewhere nearby. If there is some other college, although he does not belong to that college, if it is willing to provide such service to other students. And I'm very happy that more than 500 colleges instantaneously came forward. So if you divide by say 28 states which we have, an average about minimum, you can say 20 to 30 institutions were willing in every state to provide free internet access students other than their own students in the vicinity. So if I'm in lockdown in my village, I can go to the nearest college of my choice, which is nearer to me, and then will be in a position to make use of these services. This is the second part. Some may be still left out. There is a possibility that some of the villages are so far off from such colleges also that they may not have. So I think that is where sensitivity of the administration, whether it is the college principal, the vice chancellors, the controller of examination, the Synod, Syndicate and academic councils, a role comes in. So although online education continued after the lockdown was initiated, those who had access, they were able to complete the curriculum. They can write the exam with all the 100% syllabus. And others who could not take these classes, they have covered only 70%. So there are again two models, that those who have learnt is fine, others will informally learn later when they join the college. Can the question paper be restricted to 70% of the syllabus? Is one possibility. The other possibility is, can students who have not covered 30% are not made to write the exam right now, and when the college starts, along with the next semester classes, give them special treatment in terms of conducting classes in the late evening on the courses which were covered earlier on the online mode, now in the face-to-face classroom mode, make up that and ask him to take an examination 2 months, 3 months down the line. So I think each one has to be innovative. See, this is an opportunity. How the last man on the street, last man in a village, last man in a tribal area can be helped in ways that are possible, without diluting the standards, without compromising on the quality. How we can empower such children who are misfortunate, unfortunate, is what each one of us has to think. And this flexibility, UGC committees, that examination, whatever they have given as a recommendation, allows, and we also will allow, AICTE will allow. I think that is what is important, and we must do that.
Thank you, sir. The next question is very interesting. They say that, the incident which we are suffering that do not have any inference in the history of our earlier generations also. They have also not experienced such. So, and everything we are taking from the lifestyle management, whatever the remedies are advising by the healthcare institution and others. So, sir, are AICTE thinking for any lifestyle management thing to include in the syllabus?
No, I think our curriculum, when we did this, we didn't know that there would be a COVID-19 hitting the institutions and the country as such and the whole world. But if you look at three important courses, they are very, very significant. They are not credit courses, non-credit mandatory courses. One of them is on environment science, which is very rare. This problem is directly related with environment, the lifestyle, the way we do it. Second one is that 3-week student induction program. This has absolutely something to do with the lifestyle management, because we had seen earlier that class 12, 11, and even probably much below that, class 9, 10 onwards, students are only interested in taking those high-end examinations like JEE, trying to get into IIT, but IIT seats are not more than 5,000, 6,000, 8,000, and remaining 3, 4, 5 lakh students will not get admission, and therefore they have to join some college or the other. But they have been burnt out, they have struggled, and therefore they have not even played games, exercise, yoga. So this 3-week induction program is bringing them on track. Also, not the junk food, but the right kind of food, which is holistic food. Then there are lectures by eminent people. So I think slowly that 3-week induction program and human values program was nothing but how we take care of our lifestyle. And that has become useful today. So earlier we had introduced it without knowing that there would be a COVID-19 hitting us all that badly, but it is going to be a useful tool. And then last but not the least, which I said a little while earlier, that we should all help each other. And that collaboration also starts happening in that 3 weeks induction program. And there are rich experiences that we have seen wherever this particular program has been made compulsory and handled properly. We have seen that students from rural and urban areas, students from rich and poor families, students from English medium or Bengali, Oriya or Kannada or Tamil medium, they gel so well that what I don't know, you know, and what you know, I don't know, that is very well understood in that 3 weeks, and they start helping each other, collaborating with each other. I think that is what is the spirit of Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. We want everyone to be happy, and to make them happy, this is nothing but the best way of doing it. Therefore, I don't see any problem for adjusting post COVID-19 because those seeds were already sown, and now that plant has already, sapling has come up. We will grow it into a big plant. All colleges will realize how this course, which we introduced more than 2.5 years ago, is going to be most valuable for all of us.
Shown us that how much portion we can take remotely, and because this is under compulsion we have done it, so it has been tested, so definitely we can carry out this in future. Sir, another thing, very interesting thing, yesterday it has been published that you have been asked to translate the NPTEL and the SWAM courses in 8 regional languages. So are there any planning to introduce it in the allowing the regional language to read the engineering students under AICTE approval?
See, there are two things. I don't know what you exactly asked. There are two things. One is learning. For learning, when students come from local medium schools, Tamil, Marathi, Kannada, Bengali, Oriya, Assamese, or Punjabi, like this, or Hindi, and everything starts in English. Some of the students find it difficult to adjust in the first 1 or 2 years. Subsequently, they get used to it, and they are probably sometimes smarter than those English medium convent educated students. But in the first 1 or 2 years, they find difficult. So our priority has been to translate the courses in English of SWAYAM into 8 languages. In fact, we want to do it in all 22 languages, but our bandwidth, cost involved and time involved being less, we have concentrated on the which are bigger, and therefore students speaking that language being very high, large focus has been in those 8 languages. But having said this, this is going to be at this juncture a subtitling. Like we see a German or French movie with an English subtitle or a Hindi movie with a Tamil subtitle, like that, this English SWAYAM courses will be having subtitles in those 8 languages, and student while listening to the lecture in English will be reading it in his own language and will be able to comprehend much better. That is what is the first attempt. The second attempt would be to expand the number of courses, which are very important. One is first year courses. Others that are important are some of the basic courses which lay the foundation for that discipline. For example, in mechanical engineering, thermodynamics is very crucial. Theory of machines or strength of materials is important for all other future courses. Similarly, in electrical, maybe electrical circuits, and in electronics, there are similar courses. So these courses have to be first translated into regional language. Then there are some courses where students have a high failure rate, and such courses are also important to be translated. And then probably we will start expanding our base graduate. Second part is, once we have these courses available in local languages, if someone wants to complete his degree program in that language, the opportunities will open. So far we were never allowing students to take a degree in engineering from other than English medium. We tried in Hindi and we were not successful for 2 reasons. One is students are also having inhibitions. Secondly, there are no textbooks available, no material is available. And who is going to teach them in that language? And therefore, once this translation and actually the courses themselves are delivered in that language will become feasible and available, I'm sure that some of the students will start taking the entire program itself in that their own language.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for clarification. Sir, there are so many questions, but I am not going to stuck you up because you have given enough time to answer. The last question I am just putting forward to you, sir. They have written that there are so many criteria for applying for the projects and research which has been flown by GST or AICTE and other funding authority, and their NBA accreditation is one of the criteria. So is the same process will follow for the accreditation in this remote situation also, sir, or is there any changes that without that criteria also the faculty and the institution carry out their research work with that help of the authority?
No, see, accreditation, whether for project or not, will continue to be required. Maybe we will get some delay in accreditation happening because of this 2 months loss. Processing of application, etc. may take a little longer time. But we have already given deadline of 4 years, of which 1 year is over, so only 3 years are remaining for all institutions to get accredited. This is not just from the perspective of your research. We already can have a different mechanism of selecting institutions even without accreditation. That is not a problem. The reason for that is there are institutions may be accredited, but the quality of project proposal may be poor. And there are possibilities that a college is not accredited. Overall college may not be up to the mark in accreditation terms, but 1 or 2 exceptional faculty may be there in that college whose proposals may be excellent. So I think we will leave that apart. That parameter changing, etc. is being thought of. There was a DP Agarwal committee, the former chairman of the UPSC. He has given his recommendations, and based on that we are going to discuss that and then implement it. So that is a different part. But since you raised the issue of accreditation, I would like to emphasize that accreditation has to be done and may be delayed because of this corona, doesn't matter, but it has different variety of significance. Number one, many countries, especially in the Middle East, starting with Kuwait and then UAE and then some other countries are following, they are asking whether a student who has come from India is from an accredited institute. If his name is not from an accredited institute, even if he is good and he has got a job, they are not continuing the visa. Unfortunately, there were 13,500 engineers in Kuwait, and because their colleges were not accredited, in fact, they even targeted IIT because IITs were not getting themselves accredited. They said, you are not going to get extension of visa. You will go back home. So I think worldwide, accreditation has its own value, and therefore accreditation we must do for getting our students jobs all over the world. Secondly, it is a mark of quality. It is a testing. So mere approval and approval with a stamp of quality. These are two different things, and therefore the stakeholders will come to know this college has accreditation of so many programs, so this must be a better college. So you will get better clientele, better students, and therefore accreditation is a must. So, madam, ऐसा है कि don't worry about relationship with research. We are under consideration, but even otherwise, accreditation is necessary.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and your valuable, your insights and your guidance. So we are having our Managing Director, Honorable Mr. Taranjit Singh. Sir.
Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar, sir. Pranam, pranam.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, sir. Very much thanks, sir.
So.
Bhalo ache na?
Bhalo ache.
So sir, maybe we are on the virtual platform, sir, but we are not forgetting our tradition, our customs of India. So, sir, we are going to present you a memento that is also on the virtual platform, sir. That is piece of our appreciation. I will request Kavya, my colleague, just present that thing to sir, which will be sent to you, sir. Sir, this is the small token of appreciation. I will mail it to you, sir.
I only hope that you will not frame it and send it.
No, sir, no. I'll send the e-copy because, sir, why, I have given it, I'm giving you a piece of my mind, sir, with this situation. Okay, sir, this photo is today's photo. So I want to make it a remembrance also for this.
That is fine. I have no problem with receiving this on email, this copy.
Yes,
I'm really happy. Thank you for that. But if you give anything physical, I'm not going to accept. You know that very well.
Nothing, sir. This is our respects and affection for you, sir. Nothing else. So this is thing I will just email you, sir. So
okay. Thank you, Dr. Sila. Thank you, Dr. Sila.
Sir, thank you, sir. 1 minute, sir. So this is the formal vote of thanks. Sir, words I think are not enough to thank you for taking your time and sharing your thoughts with us. Today we have got lot of participants, those who are in the decision making also in position. So I hope this will also help them to take this academic, the education of India into the next level. So your insight and guidelines will help us to fight and steer our way through this time. I hope all of us will come out more stronger and determined out of this lockdown situation, sir. From GIS group, we are very, very grateful to, as you said, always you are with us and your blessing has got all the time with us. Thank you all the participants. Thank you our Honorable Managing Director, sir, Director and Principals for helping me and encouraging me to hold this sorts of, session with our Honorable sir. So,
thank you, madam. Thank you.
Sir, we are hoping that we will get in the next time of you with us. Thank you all the participants. And once again, I am telling you, this link will be shared with all the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much,
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
for
Thank you, sir.
organizing.
It's a very nice
Sir.
session, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
The participants.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Lot of thanks to you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Everyone, thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,